So I've been a little bit apprehensive to make this video because, well, Dark Gob could get buffed at any time, but I guess that lets me squeeze out 2 videos, right? Anyway, Dark Gob, straight into the stats, and we can see a few key factors here about the card. First of all, it obviously dies to log. This works with and against it. Of course, when you play a troop, you don't really want it to be just spelled away for a positive trade, but if you have another card that benefits an opponent's spell being out of hand, it's not too awful. That's super basic, I get it. What about that range though? It shoots as far as an RG except goes for troops too. A similar story to this? Well, Princess. Playing a Princess in the back and letting it snipe across the board is an incredible way to obtain value. It costs you free, but can technically deal infinite damage, forcing your opponent to deal with it. Now, Dark Gob will happily run away to your opponent's side, but its DPS helps it obtain the value quicker and then die afterwards. It dishes out DPS similar to a Mega Minion, so for free cost it's good at defending. It's obviously more vulnerable being on the ground and having low health, but it's a great value card if you can protect it. His raw damage means that he only one-shot skeletons, making him 2-shot anything like spear goblins. However, this isn't really an issue. Due to his 0.65 second hit speed, he actually deals with cards like spear gobs quicker than some cards that one-shot the spear gobs. Although his darts don't dish out too much damage, they shoot fast enough to make up for that. Going back to the Princess example, if you keep the Goblin alive for long enough, he can dish out insane damage for his elixir cost, and that's the basics of playing him. He's not really going to be solely murdering tanks, but he can very easily sit in the middle and provide mad DPS from a long distance. Your opponent may be forced to spell him in order to prevent him getting good value for just free elixir. Getting him logged or arrowed can set you up to be playing a higher DPS card that dies to those spells. A perfect example is Goblinnnn. Either he stays on the board and will give you the DPS of a Mega Minion, or he'll simply die to a spell and free up another card in your deck. That's one strategy around him, making sure you can punish your opponent's spell usage. It's also viable for the little guy to get poisoned or fireballed, as your opponent will gain over 200 damage for the 1 elixir that they lost on this trade. Again, the Dark Goblin will work well in decks where you can take advantage of this. Having them waste their big spell can serve for something like Zapsters to take out the tank instead. A little niche trick that you will really rarely use is sniping buildings. I suppose you all understand the basic concept, so I'm going to just show you the tiles where it's appropriate. Spawners can be sniped if they're 4 tiles away from the river, and defensive towers can be sniped if they're 3 tiles away from the river. For a defensive building at 4 tiles away, the Dark Gob can stay out of tower range, but it will move into the lane to snipe it down instead. This can help clear a path for your attacking units that may be building targets. So, what have we learnt so far? Dark Goblin is mainly a value card. He only costs 3 and does decent DPS, so the longer he's on the board, the more elixir he'll gain for you. Because of this, you really need to be protecting him against units that will fight back against him. Ice Golem, for example, is a good pairing with this card. The last thing so far is that spells work well against him, but do not ruin his viability. The deck that you run with him must account for your opponent using spells on him. So, value, mini tanks, and spell baiting. To me, I feel like an underused and under-tested deck with Dark Goblin would be Three Musketeers. Here's a few examples as to why. Three Musketeers relies on positive trades as a control deck. Three Musketeers relies on cheap DPS to cover for when it invests. Three Musketeers relies on a spell bait to make its other cards excel. And as another quick side note, Three Musketeers generally struggles with air defense due to the spellbait cards that it needs. Dark Goblin solves this by being another solid air defense once spells are gone out of your opponent's hand. Overall, Dark Gob sorta just does a load of things pretty well, and that may be why he's not a meta card. It can shut down loons, it can do decently against lava hounds themselves, it can help you take out your opponent's main tanks, it can shut down incoming melee units, and finally it can shut down incoming swarms. Overall, it's just a very flexible DPS card that can suit a load of spellbait decks if they decide to incorporate him. Finally, a shout out to Shrijan, Gupta, and Turt for this video idea, and I'm gonna leave you with a poll about if Dark Goblin needs a buff or not. Apart from that, lads, I hope you enjoyed, and peace.